What's up, everybody? This is the Hedge Mage, and welcome back to another video and another episode of What I Play. So, in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a deck that is not only one of my favorite decks to play, but also happens to be the first pauper deck that I ever built. As always, guys, if you like the content that I create, if you could leave a like on this video and hit that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate the support. And with that said, let's take a look at what I am currently playing for moggwarts. In the main deck, we're gonna start with the creatures we're running. So we have, I believe, 14 creatures, which is slightly more than you might see on, I would say, an average list for this deck. I'm running four Skirk Prospectors and four Putrid Goblins, which are, the main combo pieces. If you missed my video explaining the first day of class combo, which is kind of the ultimate win con with this deck, I have a link up there to that video, so check it out if you like. Also running for Goblin Matrons, which is kind of one of the ways that we tutor for our various win cons or ways to find it. So Goblin Matron, a very, very good card for the deck. Also got one Flame Weave Invoker, one Dark Dweller Oracle. So Flame Weave Invoker is a win con that we can tutor with the Matron, and Dark Dweller Oracle here, this can find any other win con that we have in our deck. So both of these cards are very, very good, very powerful. And then we are also running 12 artifacts. I got 4 copies of Ichor Wellspring, so pretty much a pauper staple at this point in most decks that run artifacts. Also have 4 Chromatic Stars. Now this is really great as it does help fix our mana while also giving us some more card draw. So a great thing to sacrifice to something like Deadly Dispute. Also, you can just filter your mana and draw a card with it, which is also pretty handy in certain situations. Then we got a new card for this deck. So in Wilds of Eldraine honestly brought us a couple good cards for this list. One of the big ones, at least in my mind, is Candy Trail. Not all lists are running four of. I'm running four in my list, mostly because this deck really, really struggles with fast aggro beatdowns like, you know, White Weenie or Kuldotha Red, especially Kuldotha Red. So you really want to have some kind of life gain, especially in the main board against them. And this does that. So we can also helps us dig through our deck to find what we need. So Candy Trail was a very nice upgrade to the list. Also running 4 copies of Unearth in case our opponent wants to disrupt our plan. Unearth is really, really good for us as it allows us to keep things rolling, as well as it also has cycling, so we can use it to draw a card if things get very, very dire. And then we're running 4 copies of Deadly Dispute, which is an amazing spell for the deck. Synergizes very well with both our Chromatic Stars and our Ichor Wellsprings. Generally don't want to sacrifice the Candy Trail with this, as that you will lose out on the life gain. Though in a pinch you can also do that as well. This also makes a treasure for us, another way to help fix our mana in a 2-color deck. And then we have our last piece of the combo being First Day of Class. And then this is also another new card that came out in Wilds of Eldraine. This is a Rowan's Grim Search. So this honestly lets you see a great bit of your deck, as it has a bargain, which means you can sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast a spell. For the most part, we're only going to be sacrificing artifacts. We don't really have any tokens outside of the treasure tokens. I used to run Kuldotha Rebirth in this deck, but I recently cut it. Um, as it started to seem less consistent. I was trying to go for a turn, trying to optimize it for a turn 3 win, but ultimately sometimes there's just like some other cards I want to work back in, specifically Candy Trail. Um, and more copies of Unearth. So I ended up taking those out. So we don't really have any other tokens other than treasure tokens. Mostly you're sacrificing artifacts with this. But when you bargain it, you get to look at the top 4 cards of your library and put up to 2 of them back on top of your library and the rest in your graveyard. Then you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. So basically, for 3 mana, you get to see 6 cards of your deck if you bargain this card, which is pretty nice. So it really helps you dig. And the last non-land spell in the list is Makeshift Munition. So this is one of our win cons. So I'm running 2 win cons in the main board just in case one gets dealt with. Um, so just a little bit of insurance there, but this is generally what you were going to be trying to find with your can't remember where that goblin went. Here we go. The Dark Dweller Oracle. So generally you're going to want to find your makeshift munitions with your Dark Dweller Oracle, or you could flip up a Flameweave Invoker and play that as well. And then in our mana base, it's a 18 land build. We've got 4 copies of Great Furnace, 4 Vault of Whispers, 4 Drossforge Bridge. We got 1 Tramway Station, and this also, it's a tap land, but we can use it late game to draw us a card, which is pretty beneficial. Also got 1 copy of Rakdos Carnarium, another way to help fix our mana. And we got 3 mountains and 1 swamp. And that's the main deck. In the sideboard, also have our cute little treasure token here. In the sidebar, I also got 1 copy of Pyromantics. This is another win con that you can use. I usually bring this in if I know they have things like, enchantment removal or counter spells, as this is a much harder thing to interact with. Even if they have a counter spell and they want to wait for us to use up all of our resources, we can play Pyromantics, and it's basically we can make 1,000,000 copies of this with infinite mana. So this is a pretty fun trick that not a lot of decks run and not a lot of people see coming. So I do have one in the sideboard. And then I got 1 copy of Upbraid. So this has a couple modes. We can deal 3 damage to target creature, or we can destroy a target artifact. So a little artifact hate and a little bit of removal. And then we also got 3 copies of Nihil Spellbomb. This is definitely something you're going to want to be bringing in against Tolarian Terror decks, as well as other decks that like you that want a combo out of cards that you have in your graveyard. A little graveyard hate there. And then I also got 3 copies of Duress. Definitely really want to go as hard as possible against the control matchups. They're gonna any sort of instant speed, graveyard hate, or just counter spells, really efficient removal, things like, snuff out, that type of thing. Uh, you're gonna want to take that away from them. And so Duress is probably the best way to do that. So we got 3 copies of that in the sideboard. Also got 1 copy of Krark Clan Shaman. Since we do run as many artifacts lands as we can, as well as having about 12 other artifacts in the deck, not to mention our treasure tokens, we can probably sweep the board and the shaman is a nice little reset button for us. Also can unearth it if we need to do it more than once. Hopefully once is enough to allow us to get set up and get our combo going. And then we also got 3 copies of Cast into the Fire. So really good graveyard hate. Also the second mode is also very good. Very good against fairies, as they have a lot of 1 toughness creatures. So bringing that in against Affinity most of the time. And they also got 3 copies of Pyroblast. So another thing to fight the blue decks, as the blue decks are generally going to be the hardest matchup with moggwarts. That's very much been my experience. A well-placed counterspell can kind of just ruin your day with this deck. And that's the list, guys. Of course, I'm going to have a link to the full list in the description. So check it out if you like. But would definitely love to hear what you guys think about this deck. Is it something that you have played or are interested in playing? Would love to hear from you down in the comments section below. But that's going to do it for today's video. As always, I hope you all are having a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time.